Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about how Sofi Technologies is dominating their competition. So much so, where some of the other bank and legacy banks and fintech companies are actually investing into Sofi Technologies stock. In this video, we're going to be going over their latest news updates, price predictions, future catalysts, and where the stock price could be headed into the future. But I'm also going to go over the latest news updates regarding their price targets, as well as how Sofi Technologies actually stacks up against other fintech companies and legacy banks. For more news videos on Sofi Technologies and their stock price, remember to go and smash that like button right now. Comment your thoughts down below about where you think the Sofi share price is headed in the next year. Subscribe if you are new, and lastly, if you want to support the channel, remember to go and check out that membership linked next to the subscription button down below. But without further ado, let's jump right into today's stories. The first article we're going to analyze is their newest price target from Morgan Stanley. And if you've been here long enough, you know that professionals have a stock price target for the Sofi Technologies share price that range anywhere between $7 on the low end and $11 on the high end. And Morgan Stanley was previously on the low end, and now that has been increased. Now, if we look at other professionals in the space, such as financial reporters, some financial reporters are extremely bearish, having price targets of $3.50, and I actually did a video on that, while other financial reporters actually believe the company could surge to $30 per share over the next year, which is absolutely phenomenal. And similarly to this article, the next article that we're going to analyze is where another institution and a Mizuho analyst has actually increased their Sofi share price prediction for this company over the next 12 months. So it's really good how we see multiple institutions, even if these institutions are closer to the bearish end, increase their overall price target, because as the low end price targets increase, that means the higher end bullish price targets will also increase. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how the Sofi share price is going to react with these future catalysts, and how Sofi Technologies is dominating their competition, and how some of their competitors are actually buying into Sofi stock, which is something that you don't see very often. So we're going to start off talking about how Morgan Stanley has increased their stock price target for Sofi Technologies from $7 to $7.50 as of Thursday morning, which is really good. And according to MarketBeat actually says that the consensus price estimate among professionals is a price prediction of $13.54 with a moderate buy rating, which to me is absolutely phenomenal. So we can see how these more bearish analysts and stock professionals and institutions are slowly becoming more positive and bullish on this particular company, and as an investor, that's exactly what we would want to see. But it's not just Morgan Stanley who is increasing their price target. Mizuho is also increasing their price target according to one of their analysts, where the analyst says that there are several key positives for Sofi Technologies following how the Biden administration plans to end the student loan moratorium and the student loan freeze as of December 31st, which is going to act as a phenomenal catalyst for Sofi stock. And we talked about that a lot in our last video, but we're going to go into a little more detail before I get into how Sofi Technologies is dominating their competition. The Mizuho analyst actually increased his price target to $8 per share, and of course he has a buy rating when it comes to this particular company. And as the lower end price targets continuously increased, this is very bullish news overall. So investors should definitely be excited about this. However, what about their competition? How is Sofi's competition actually trying to support Sofi in some way by investing into the company? Well, first I want to go over their metrics in terms of their member growth and their product growth, which is going to fuel their overall revenues and help them reach profitability even sooner than expected. And the reason for this is that Sofi Technologies, as of quarter 2 of 2022, has added around 4.99 million new products, with 1.2 million lending products and 5.36 million financial products, which would equate to around a 315.71% increase in regards to their new products, which is absolutely phenomenal. This is going to reflect very positively in their revenue, because for quarter 2 of 2022, Sofi has grown their $136.25 million worth of revenue that they brought in for quarter 2 of 2020 has risen to $356 million in quarter 2 of 2022. And remember, this is despite their student loan business operating at less than 50% capacity. So Sofi has had a huge anchor and weight on them because they make the majority majority of their revenues from their lending business, and a large chunk of their lending business is made up of student loan refinancing because that's what this company originally specialized in. However, now, as the student loan moratorium is going to end, or once it ends, or even before it ends, the demand for this type of refinancing is going to explode, which is going to cause the Sofi stock price not only to surge based off of their increasing revenue and growing profitability, but also because this is going to set the company on a very long-term growth trajectory. As of right now, repayments on federal student loans is going to resume on January 1st of 2023, where millions of borrowers will be looking to refinance their student loans at a cheaper interest rate. And this is going to act as a phenomenal catalyst for the Sofi stock price in the beginning of 2023. I also want to highlight what we talked about earlier, their products, where their products are increasing very dramatically, which would equate to around a 79% growth year over year. And as we can see on screen, we can see that exponential growth rate, which is absolutely amazing, which should make investors extremely positive and bullish. Also, I want to point out that over the past 2 years, Sofi has increased their overall adjusted net revenue from their lending segment by 206.62%. And this obviously indicates that not only does their business model work extremely well, but this is a rapidly growing company. Again, since the first quarter of 2020, there hasn't been a single quarter where student loan refinancing accounted for more than 50% of Sofi's lending segment revenue. However, with the student loan moratorium ending, we're going to see a surge in this. Even despite Sofi not having a lot of student loan originations lately because of the student loan moratorium, that's clearly going to change. But how is the company still giving us fantastic revenue growth? Well, that's mainly due to their personal loan originations. And as you can see on screen, the orange track refers to their personal loan originations, which have a fantastic positive slope, unlike their student loan originations, which have been decreasing because of the student loan moratorium, and their home loan originations have also had somewhat of a negative trend because of what's going on in the overall housing market. But luckily, we can anticipate that at least the student loan originations are going to actually start to have a positive slope toward them. So, paired with their amazing personal loan originations and their student loan originations, on top of the overall real estate market cooling off, we can see phenomenal prospects in terms of their lending segment of their overall business. Sofi Technologies is literally going to start bringing in billions worth of student loan originations. Literally, before the student loan moratorium, they were bringing in around $2.3 billion worth of originations. However, recently that has declined to only around $400 million worth of originations in the recent quarter. And if we can anticipate that in 2023, their student loan origination average per quarter is going to come to around $2 billion instead of the original $2.3 billion, we could hypothetically get a scenario where not only Sofi achieves profitability almost an entire year earlier on a generally accepted accounting principles basis, but this would mean that their total loan originations would amount to around $17.88 billion in the year of 2023, which means Sofi Technologies is going to be bringing in a large amount of revenue from their overall loaning segment, and that is absolutely fantastic from my personal perspective. I also want to dispel some fears where there's a misconception that the student loan forgiveness that President Joe Biden and the Biden administration is trying to implement will negatively impact Sofi Technologies, and this simply is just not true, and here's why. There is currently around $1.6 trillion worth of federal student loan debt right now, according to CNBC, and as the Biden administration is looking to forgive around $329.1 billion of that debt in student loan forgiveness, which would mean there's still a market of around $1.27 trillion in federal student loans that still need to be refinanced, repaid, and their interest rates to be lowered by private lenders such as Sofi Technologies. So this is actually great news for Sofi Technologies in the long term because their largest business segment, which is their lending segment, will be reinvigorated due to this new demand to where their student loan refinancing business will be able to identify and latch onto that $1.27 trillion market opportunity, which is going to be incredible when we see how this is reflected in Sofi Technologies' overall revenue. So even if the student loan forgiveness goes through where that $10,000 to $20,000 is going to be taken off of a lot of student loans, it's not going to negatively impact Sofi Technologies as much as people think. Now, how does Sofi Technologies actually stack up against their competition. Now, this is what I really want to hone in on. Well, first off, I want to say that Sofi Technologies, according to a multitude of 13F filings, has plenty of institutional backing, where mega investors such as BlackRock, ticker symbol BLK, added around 13.61 million shares last quarter of SoFi shares to their overall portfolio, while Vanguard added around 11.1 million shares, and State Street, ticker symbol STT, added 5.07 million shares. But here's where we jump into some competition. JP Morgan Chase, ticker symbol JPM, which is SoFi's competition, actually added 2.38 million shares of SoFi Technologies last quarter. And this is absolutely huge when their competition is actually betting on SoFi Technologies' future success. Also, if we look at the top 25 institutions that have actually added SoFi shares to their overall positions and portfolios, we get phenomenal companies such as Credit Suisse, Citadel Advisors, and many other well-known banking and asset management institutions. This is a very good sign to where SoFi has positioned itself to become one of the top financial institutions, and these other companies understand that to where they are not willing to bet against SoFi Technologies, but if you can't beat them, you might as well join them or at least bet on their success, just like JP Morgan Chase is doing. It's really cool to see how SoFi Technologies actually stacks up against some of their competition, and that's what we're going to do right now. So how does SoFi Technologies stack up against banking giants and legacy banks such as JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, UBS, and SoFi themselves? How is SoFi stacking up against this competition? Well, very well, I would say. For instance, in quarter one, we can see the deposits of these various financial institutions and legacy banks, to where, yes, they are bringing in a larger amount than SoFi Technologies is, but let's actually look at the growth by looking at their quarter two deposits, which have actually shown a decrease. For JP Morgan, we can see that they have decreased in deposits quarter over quarter by around 3.5%. Bank of America fell by 4.25%. Wells Fargo fell by 3.87%. Citigroup basically stayed the same but increased by around 0.35%, while UBS fell by around 5.5%. But if we compare these to SoFi Technologies, SoFi's deposits have not fallen, but actually increased by a gigantic margin of 134.65%, which means that they are outperforming their competition very well. SoFi Technologies is growing in deposits despite the negative macroeconomic environment of high inflation and rising interest rates. So clearly SoFi is doing something extremely right, even compared to their competitors. And this is why companies like JP Morgan are actually betting positively that SoFi Technologies is going to make something of themselves in the future, and JP Morgan wants to be a part of that overall growth. We can also say that SoFi Technologies is destroying their competition in the APY that they are offering their customers on their checking accounts. For instance, if you sign up with a checking account with SoFi Technologies and you enroll in direct deposits, not only will they wipe away any fees where you won't have any account fees, but they are paying you a 2% interest rate to hold your money in their bank account. That means if you have $100,000 in your bank account in their checking account, they are going to pay you $2,000 per year. That's a 2% increase that they are literally paying you a 2% APY just to hold your money in their account. They are paying you to be a customer of theirs. And to my knowledge, there is no other fintech company or bank that has an APY that is this high as of right now, who is on the same level as SoFi Technologies in terms of a cloud-based financial institution. They also have very competitive credit cards and savings accounts, and their interest rates that they offer for various loans are very, very competitive, and I think it puts SoFi in the top echelon and the top tier in regards to their competition, at least their immediate competition. As an investor, we should look forward to SoFi Technologies and the several catalysts that they have going for them in 2023. So, for more videos like this one, remember to go and smash that like button right now, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe if you are new, and don't forget to check out the perks that the membership now offers on this channel, or if you just want to support the channel. And with that being said, I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you in the next YT video.